I grew up doing, I specialized in second floor additions, where they rip off the top of the house and add another, 2 bathrooms on the second floor and kitchen. And the other one was where they leave one wall in the house and call it a remodel. We used to do those. And Southern California. So that's my bivouac was Southern California. My grandmother lived in Laurel Canyon, the home of all the singers, Crosby, Stills and Nash, so on and so forth. We used to enjoy driving by Sunset Strip, looking at the freaks. Anyways, so that was in the day. I thought that was cool, but it was good being, my dad was a plumber, and my grandfather was a plumber. My uncles were plumbers, or building inspectors. So, and then I went to class 3 times to get the journeyman's, or to study the code class. If you can't do it once, do it 3 times. Keep going until you get it. So then I was pretty successful. And then into my 30s, when I was in my 20s and early 30s, I used to work like 10 6-hour days. And then that kind of takes a toll on you. After a while, you got burnout. So I would have been much better off taking a trip to Europe. But the reason we don't like new construction, the average net profit on new construction is 3%. And that really sucks. You start doing your job costing and figuring out what's going on, and it sucks. 3%. Now 10's pretty nice. I can live with 10. I can't live with 3. Anyways, I used to do a lot of, in the day there was a lot of, we had a company that did a bunch of custom houses, and so, okay, we'll do a bunch of custom houses. Then you start figuring out what it cost you to do the house. Well, it was the one that changed my mind was, it was about a $13,000 job, and it cost me $12,500 to do it.
Oh, wow.
And I go, this is bad, this is not good. It was a beach house, it was a very nice beach house, but it was interesting. So, in my world, was it Bob's favorite is license to steal. Was 10% a license to steal? I don't think so, Bob, but what the heck. So, some people will sell you stuff you don't need, or they sell you, I'll never sell you nothing you don't need. If you need it, I'm gonna sell it to you. But if you don't need it, I'm not gonna sell it to you. So it's the one fiduciary. I'm a fiduciary for my customers. If I don't stand with the customer, who are you standing with? So on the back of my card, it says, it has my World Peace Recycle. You gotta stand for something or you stand for nothing. And what's the other one here? Faith child, or child of faith. That's my religious dogma. So anyways. And what's my story? 2010, my wife hit menopause. I was stupid, and then I went bankrupt. But it wasn't because of that. It wasn't because of that. I had internal theft in my company. So that was a good time. And what's the joke? My joke? I went for broke and I achieved it. Anyways, it was, you got to pick the people in your company, and you're picking a team. Now, what's my story? If you ever have to ask yourself, if you don't ever have the question, should I fire that person? Don't have that conversation twice. Off their head. It's not fun. It sucks firing people, but you got to do what you got to do, because they're not there for you. They're there for themselves. I have a helper. The other day, I give him cash to count. Every time I give him cash to count, he wants a raise. So now he started out at $15 an hour, and then he went to 16. Now he's at 20. And then I go to the back of my truck and open my back of my truck and my junk falls out in my lap or on the ground. And then I go, what are you doing? The more I pay you, the worse job you do. So needless to say, we had a little discussion about that. But if I had had a helper a long time ago, my back would be much better. But que sera. So, Hans Shaver, Class Act Plumbing. And then I was trying to help clear your drain from not doing it, but anyway, it didn't work, but we try. So, I'm not a big fan of Drano. I like pouring toxic waste down the drain, or I charge you more to work in toxic waste. So, it also keeps my hands very clean.
So is there an alternative solution that the best
There's
solution?
organics out there, the biodegradable or they're bioclean. There should be some that is good for your sewer and good for your pipes. Because all that slime just falls out in your system. All the grease and what have you stays there for years.
So don't pour grease down your drain.
Oh, heck no. Nor what's that, dental floss. I don't want anything dental, I don't want anything organic on my drains.
What's the craziest thing you've seen? Piper in a drain or
No,
something?
not much, nothing too dramatic. We had a story and I was working for my dad in those days, you could make a living at $40 an hour. And I had to pull a sewer ejector pump out of a container. It was nasty. I go, am I putting my arm in there for $40? No, I'm not. $80? No, I'm not. 150? Well, maybe. 200? I'll go get it. A lot of times you charge by, how much how grossed out you are. Well, how much do you want me to go swim in your sewage?
So that's one of those episodes for dirty jobs.
Yeah, that's nasty
Right.
stuff. That's just nasty stuff. But anyways, in the day, well, when I grew up, we lived in Malibu. Life was good. And my dad could make a living at and build a house and make a living on $40 an hour. That's before the dollar went down to crapper and we paid for the Vietnam War. Now we got to pay for the Afghanistan War, Afghanistan. But we don't learn from one war. We keep just doing it again. That's my political. Get off my peach, my box.
I have a question for you. Some people think that eggshells down the drain clean out the drain and all that. What's your opinion?
I like ice.
Do you?
I've heard of
Ice in the garbage
Sharpens, right?
disposal.
Oh,
And then salt.
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 What about lemon?
Lemon's nice, gives nice
That
lemon
would be a
smell.
great ad. If you made an ad where you showed people about, because I've never heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something like, you're helping the customer out and it's just like they're putting ice in there.
Yeah, no, it kind of rejuvenates it. Well, broken glass, my dad used to sell broken glass from like light bulbs.
No way.
Really?
Like nice mercury content in that.
Really, that's good stuff.
Now we know.
No, what's
It's
the
a
one we
neurotoxin.
usually find in the garbage disposals is little stainless steel screws and bolts.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the time I assume that's from food processing, coming through the line and what are you eating? But anyways. Oh, yeah, a lot of times the worst thing I get is we're not collectors, we're not hoarders, we're collectors. That's my biggest problem. Or I have to go underneath had somebody that was a church people and they saved every shampoo that they ever got from a hotel and all the bottles were underneath their bathroom sink. So the first time I go underneath there to get it done, I put them back. The second time I'm getting a trash can, I'm going through this stuff for them.
They'll put them out.
So spring cleaning.
So regarding a drain, when I was in my apartment for a while, I went ahead and did, I think it was salt, baking soda, vinegar,
I've heard that one.
and I let it, and it goes all foamy, and I let it sit all night, and then I take boiling water, and I would put boiling water the next morning, and it really cleared out my drains.
You might try that, Lee. Write that one down, Lee.
Yeah.
Salt, baking soda, and
Yeah, and it's been a while since I've done it. It's been about 12
Vinegar
years,
and what
but
else?
I think it was salt, baking soda, and then you put vinegar, and it will foam and do its thing, and then you let it sit all night, and then the next morning I poured like a big pot of boiling hot water down the drain.
How much consistent, like 50, 20?
Oh, I just dumped, I think.
You just
Yeah, I didn't have a
dump
ratio
it,
yet.
yeah.
So I would Google it, because I'm sure it's on their formula, but it worked good, because, drain is expensive.
Oh, it's
That's healthier and toxic.
It's dry, basically.
I used to put eggshells down. I mean, it was an easy way to get rid of them. And then the city of Folsom knocked on the front door and said, don't do eggshells because you've blocked, they stick into the grease that everybody's putting into the sewer, and it just blocks up the main line, and you get one pass.
The city of Folsom can't
The
do
city
that?
of Folsom.
How did that get from
Is
you?
that like,
Because I'm the last house in the,
On the
last
dime.
house or the first house
Oh.
in the
Wow.
development.
in the garbage disposal or just?
In the garbage disposal.
Really?
They
Yeah.
found your eggshells?
Yep.
You must eat a lot of
Well,
eggs.
it would get stuck in the oil.
Yeah, they're
they're
very
good
healthy,
compost,
great
right?
source of
I
protein,
love eggs, but yeah.
boneless young chicken.
Does
And
But
chocolate?
now you put them
cholesterol for your brain.
Now you put them in your organics,
Right.
so you should never have a garbage disposal.
You can ask. You just go there.
I have to do organics.
Yeah, you understand.
We do as
Yeah, well,
well.
it's- yeah, it's-
I'm big on
Thank
that.
you.
How often should
Spring.
we do our drain? I mean, like,
I'm spraying, I'm
Only when it
spraying, I'm done with
stops.
the winter.
You don't care.
okay, so there's no like preventative,
No,
I'll do
no,
once a
no.
month. do
If
this,
you,
that,
if
and that.
you, when we clear the main lines, which is usually roots, then we're just giving it a haircut, so we can come back in another 6 months or a year and do it again.
Hans, what are your favorite type of jobs? Like, what do you like to do?
Water heaters,
Water heater?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Alright, just focus on water heaters.
And do you do
Drinking
the
on
tankless
dirt.
ones too?
yeah. but
Okay.
I
Isn't
like
there a special wood water heaters right now?
Oh, there's the heat pump water heaters.
Yeah.
They're good with the solar, and they're about 10 grand worth of rebate, so it's free.
Wait, what are those called?
PG,
Heat pump water heaters, which is basically a water heater with an air conditioning on it or a compressor in it.
ah,
And you call PG&E and they give it to you basically with the rebates for free?
Yep, well then, nothing's free, but
So
I like to, my theory is that when PG&E went sideways and we burnt up everything,
Yeah.
we're just suing insurance companies. One insurance company suing another insurance company. That is probably the reason that we don't have any insurance, but fire insurance now. That's just my theory. But anyways,
Makes sense.
I do not care for PG&E. You know, the PG&E stands for specific gas and extortion.
so that means they want you to put your water heater onto electricity. I believe mine
Yes.
right now is using propane.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, propane, a gas, most of them are natural gas. It's kind of a, I do not appreciate the new direction the state is going in for electrification. I think it's kind of stupid because the grid is not designed to take the power.
Can't take it.
Yeah, they can't take it, they can't, you know, it's,
It's going down.
I think everything that happens is a boondoggle. And this is just another one, if I can get in on the boondoggle, I'm ready for it, hand it over, take a ride. But the thought is, they want to superheat your hot water, they want to have, if you put a timer on a electric water heater, you can save half your power. Because it's off, not on all the time, so that's probably a better way of going about it. They want to superheat the hot water and play a game with it. They want it, you have to run a tempering valve on it so you don't burn yourself, so.
Would that superheat keep it cleaner than what we're getting?
No,
Not
they're just
really,
trying to
not.
save water, save,
Oh, no, I know they're not altruistic in any way. But our water is disgusting, and I'm just wondering if that high heat would
kill
a
it.
little bit better.
Well, it
Kill
kills
some of the
whatever's in there.
bacteria.
Yeah, they said that will kill it.
Yeah.
What's the story? Every drop of water in the world, here or in the Himalayas, has plastic in it.
Yeah.
And the body interprets plastic as estrogen.
Yes, yes.
So there's gonna be a lot more queer bear boys.
You were doing good there for a minute.
Yeah. I think
Let's edit that part out.
it's okay.
Now, my house is all electric. It was built all electric in 1979. And
79, not 67.
1979, our whole development was built electric. I really like my all electric,
The
so
gold medallion,
what's that?
that's the PG&E, in the day it's called gold medallion homes or something.
I don't know, I don't know. I didn't
She's
buy it.
smud.
Yeah, I'm smut.
That is one of them.
Yeah, so I'm all smut.
Yeah, compared to
So
PG&E.
let me rephrase that. I'm all electric and I'm all smut.
That is good.
Life is very good, yes.
PG&E is another story.
I'm equivalent to
Smut is
smut now.
nice.
I'm getting, my V3 is getting ready to get turned on at like 20-21 cents a kilowatt hour. Yes.
Nice.
No more 52, whatever. Okay.
Right on, Han! Oh, thank you.